I respect everything that you had done to kind of get me in the door. I don't respect your palate at all.
I get it.
I think that you have the palate of a maybe 13-year-old boy tops.
This is not
at
true.
Times. Has it gotten
This
better?
is not true.
So
I have a versatile.
Hey everybody, welcome on back to You Gotta Try This podcast with Large. It's myself, Large. Ian is behind the ones and twos. Welcome on back into the show. We're happy that you're here. Before we get started, 5 stars, like, subscribe, anywhere you're listening to this. It's important to us. Maybe it's not important to you. I don't normally do it myself, but if you could like, subscribe, give as many stars as humanly possible on any type of reviews. And of course, if you do enter a question in with a 5-star review, we'll try to read it on the air. I'd gotten one this weekend from somebody named Virginia who said, I need to send a gift to a friend recovering from a successful surgery. Gift ideas, something other than flowers. If anyone had ideas for it, it would be Large. They're absolutely right. I am one of the best fucking gift givers that's ever lived. There was a time where, and I'm sure you're going to go through this too, Ian, you have that wedding season where every year you have 5 weddings. It's just going to happen, naturally. And then from wedding season, it's just going to be baby season. And everybody just starts having babies. So you're constantly either giving wedding gifts or cranking out sending baby gifts to people as they're cranking out kids. Wedding gifts, I always give cash. And I usually give a weird number. If I'm going to give you $500 as a wedding gift, I'll give you $523.17. Just because when you open up the envelope with your wife on the bed that night, before you, make the marriage official, just seeing $523.17 from a weird guy like Large and N sometimes resonates. Whenever you have a baby, I used to send people honey baked hams, spiral hams, about the size of your child. So a week after you have the baby, all of a sudden it shows up on your door. Everybody loves a spiral ham. And I give it to you. How big's the baby? 7 pounds, 8 ounces. And I'll say that I got the ham exactly the size of your kid, and nobody ever knows whether or not I did. I just get it pretty close. So this one is one that I was like, shit, I don't know if I have a good get well soon gift in my bag. And then I remembered Cats, one of the places that we haven't been yet. We haven't gone to Cats yet, just because everyone's gone to Cats. But Cats is a place that's near and dear in my heart because I went to high school within walking distance, so I used to go to lunch there quite a bit. And I remember Cats used to have this thing, send a salami to your boys in the Army. Maybe it was during World War II, but I just remember the slogan. They do have the poster up inside of the restaurant. And I guess you could just ship salamis to guys who are at war, and resonated with me. So I went on Katz's website just to see if they even still did it. And as I did, Katz does a get well soon package. And it's homemade chicken noodle soup, their famous matzo ball soup, aka Jewish penicillin, hand-carved turkey breast, hearty potato knishes, authentic New York everything bagels, and a loaf of deli rye bread. I'm telling you right now, if I ever get sick and you want to send me something, 9 times out of 10, do not. I don't want anything, stuffed animals, flowers, any of that stuff. It's an immediate dumpster thing for me. I apologize. Just don't fucking need it. You send me, and it comes in like 2 jars. You send me some matzo ball soup, some chicken noodle soup, some rye, some knishes from Cat's Deli. I think it's like $125. So it's not cheap, but it's good. But man, I would love that. So if you guys need a good get well soon gift, I think that's a perfect one. And if I ever need to get well soon, please send me that shit. Honestly, like that's my call. I answered the question, and now I'm demanding to have that sent to me if I ever need it, which is something that I assume I will sometime very soon because I'm so fucking out of shape. Otherwise, what do we got this week? We have KFC. So Kevin Clancy is the reason that I'm here at Barstool. I'll explain that when we go into it with Kevin. And you've been a big fan of Kevin's for a while, right? You're one of the loyal guys.
Yep. Been listening to KFC radio since it's been created almost.
Really? Yeah, because when we had fights on, you were a little, fanboying out a little bit. So we're going to do a sit down with Kevin, and we're also going to talk about his launch of this new Espresso Martini, pre-made Espresso Martinis, which I went to the launch party. Ian was there with me the other day. I'm not an Espresso Martini guy. These are delicious. I thought they're very good. It's the first one that I've ever had a full one, and we'll get into it with him on exactly what that process was. Just talk about food in general, talk about Kevin's got a very white trash palate, and we'll get into it. And it's probably going to be a long interview, so it's not going to be too much of a run up to or after it. What else did I want to talk about? Au Cheval. Au Cheval is dropping this week, and it's one of the more popular places. The Fort Charles, Au Cheval, incestuous relationship. I get it, but it's one of those places that usually gets a lot of clicks. I'd gone in there just on a random day in Chicago thinking there's no way I'm going to get in. I thought it was going to be one of those Fort Charles situations. And I walked in the middle of the afternoon. They were like right this way, sat me at the bar with a look at the open kitchen. And I liked it. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. And I will tell you that I put the burger at Au Cheval higher than I had, than the burger that I had at Fort Charles. And you'll see why. Like I'll do the whole thing in the review. But I did the burger with the bacon and the egg. Then I did the bologna sandwich, their fried bologna sandwich. Just this elevated, garlicky, delicious bologna / mortadella type sandwich. Again, it was very good. And then the topper was the bone marrow with the beef cheek marmalade, which I don't know if that sounds good or bad to you, but it was fantastic. And I made a bite at the end where I combined a little bit of all three dishes, and it was very good. So be on the lookout for that on our socials, the Au Cheval thing. One little follow-up that I will do is that the girls in the slot, or one of them, have done some stuff where we have then kind of commented on it. And one of the things that we did was a young lady named Ray had named her top 3 condiments. I had then named my top 3 condiments. And the last condiment that I had chosen was Alabama white sauce. I did hot sauce just because I think it's universal. Then I did mustard just because I need mustard in my life. And and then the last thing I did was an Alabama white sauce. This week, the Rocket City Trash Pandas, the Trash Pandas. They're a minor league baseball team. They're out of Madison, Alabama. I'm a little bit familiar with Alabama because my son goes to University of Alabama, Roll Tide. So Madison, Alabama is in the northern part of the state, and that's where the Rocket City Trash Pandas play out of. They're a AA affiliate of the Angels. I don't know why I keep calling them Pandas. That's not even my fucking accent. The Brooklyn thing should be Pandas. I'm calling them Pandas for some reason. I apologize. The Rocket City Trash Pandas. So anyway, you know how all these teams have their alternate mascots? And they're sometimes like a great way for these small minor league teams to make some dough because they can sell these cool ass mascots for a limited time on their hats and their t-shirts. So Rocket City is changing their mascots to their alternate mascots for a small amount of time. I don't know exactly how many games or whatnot, but the 2 mascots that they're doing is one is going to be the Alabama, I think called the Pork Butts or something. And it's a pig or something, and it's kind of cool, but that's not important. The other thing is their other alternate mascot is the Alabama white sauce. So if you look at the hat and look it up on MILB.com, Rocket City Trash Pandas, and the Alabama white sauce, and it's just a squeeze bottle with the white sauce. And now people are complaining that it looks too much like semen. Like they're saying whenever people think of white sauce, they right away think of cum. I don't, right? Like I think that there are other white sauces that are a lot more delicious than the ones that I might leave in the small of my wife's back. So I don't know what the thing about that is, but I'm going to go buy a hat from these guys because I like to support people who do creative things. So the Rocket City Trash Pandas will be the Alabama white sauces for some period of time during this minor league baseball season. So check them out. And maybe buy a hat. And then finally, I'm going to do a quick history thing before we get in with KFC, because like I said, it's going to be a long one with Kevin, and I loved it. But here's a fun fact that I just read. In-N-Out burgers, which people consider wildly overrated. In-N-Out burger used to have this great feel about it, this mystique. And then somebody had peeled back the layers and just said that the whole thing's overrated. I don't even agree with that. I think In-N-Out Burger is very good, it's just like every other type of smash burgery place that you go to. Not smash burger, but like those fast casual burger chains. I think that In-N-Out Burger is good. The gorilla style with all that stuff. It probably shouldn't get the recent hate that it's gotten, but I think once things start to get extremely popular, people try to tear it down. Either way, I'm not going to die on that hill. I really don't give a shit. But In-N-Out Burgers offers Coke products. And that's what they offer, Coke products. But you'll notice that they serve 7-Up instead of Sprite. And 7-Up is not a Coke product, Sprite is. So they're bucking the trend there a little bit. And the reason that is decades ago, a fire destroyed an In-N-Out warehouse. And 7-Up allowed In-N-Out to use its warehouses and facilities when In-N-Out was just a small growing company. So now In-N-Out has become this big fucking chain. It continues to show gratitude to 7-Up by serving their product in their restaurants instead of Sprite. I think that's very cool. Like I've seen that before. Why does Notre Dame have Army on its schedule every year? And it's because Notre Dame went through some very lean years in football, and Army, which was a powerhouse back in the day, kept Notre Dame on their schedule. So Notre Dame repays the favor, and plus a lot of times it's an easy win. So In-N-Out, good on you. Congratulations with, showing a little bit of, solidarity with 7-Up. And Rocket City Trash Pandas, good on you for recognizing what I think is one of the greatest condiments in the world. Good on Virginia for sending in that DM and asking us a question. And the only thing we have left to do is listen to KFC. So here it comes right now. All right. So as promised, I'm sitting here with the guy who's the reason that I'm at Barstool. I give all respect to Dave, obviously, for pulling the trigger on hiring me. But it was Kevin that invited me in originally just because he used to read what I wrote a long, long time ago. We'd only met briefly at like a fundraiser that I was throwing. Mm-hmm. And somehow Kevin had found out that I had gotten laid off, and through a friend of a friend, I guess we have a mutual friend. So you'd asked me to come in to do a radio show and an episode of a podcast. And then after that, David said that he would hire me to just write that day. And then the next day after speaking with Annie, I'd said yes. So huge.
You're kind of the reason I'm at Barstool.
Yeah.
In a weird way too.
I think
I started blogging after reading your stuff.
Right. Yeah. I think it was one of those things. And when David first reached out to me personally, while I was still at Citigroup, and I said no, he reached out to me to be Barstool New York. So I think that's
thank
more.
God you said no.
That's more of a stretch. Yeah, like everything that you have is because of me. I just like saying that out loud.
Well,
but that's
like
more of a stretch.
99% Dave gave me everything I have, and I owe everything to him, and then 1% you, and 0% to me. But
I think honestly, like I like to stretch and take more credit, but I think that the credit is truly due, because I would have never came in to do that shit. I would have never have done any of that stuff, and it's like such a lifestyle change for me for the better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would hope, man. Yeah. I mean,
financially, I'm in the shitter, but otherwise, I'm fine.
I like the coaching tree, thought. I like to sometimes think about who I contributed to,
who is it?
The company. I mean, well, technically Feidelberg, I think would be my biggest one.
That would be the big one.
He really, we kind of started basically at the same time, and he made his own way, but he had lost out as the intern. Devlin beat him to be the intern in Boston. Really? He came in second place, and I think he reached out to me being like, could I work for you in New York? And I was like, I can't pay you or anything, but like, yeah, come on over and just be my Devlin.
I had no idea that's how it worked. The only person whose origin story I'm kind of familiar with was Glenny, because Glenny had to like do a 50-yard dash or some bullshit. Glenny, and it was Caleb. Was that it? Like
Glenny was Caleb hired Glenny to be Rhea's intern. I think he was like an intern for an intern or something like that. It was like internception. Yeah. But yeah, he basically got the gig when he sprinted down the sidewalk, and everyone was like, "You're pretty fast for a fat guy," and that's all it took.
But you also have like Jackie.
Yeah, I mean, Feidelberg was a big one. Millmore, I think, was a big one that behind the scenes being a video guy. Mm-hmm. Jackie and Pabs are my people now. All these people have made their own way. When I say like my coaching tree, just like I kind of introduced them.
But me.
But yeah, and
I mean, I'm on there, right?
No, if you give me the credit, I'll take it. Like I think if I really put together everybody that I really had a hand in coming, it'd be a pretty solid squad. And then if you put together the people that I wanted that were not hired, it would be a really diesel squad. I mean, some of these comics that were on the come up in the middle of like the golden era of KFC radio, all probably would have worked here. And I recommended all of them. Dan Soder, Shane Gillis, Chris Stefano, Jesus Amiro, all these guys. And some of them we like tried to barely, and then other ones like it was just never even an option.
Chris Stefano was the one who was thinking about coming here, and he was doing history at the time.
Yeah.
And it was around the time where we were maybe like 40 episodes into Twisted History.
Mm-hmm.
So David pulled me into an office and said, do you think that there'd be too much overlap? I said, Dave, I got to be honest with you. There is no overlap, right? It's history. Like
Yeah.
as soon as I walk out the
about
door,
things that happen.
yeah, this conversation would be history. So it's no overlap with me. And I'm sure he would take it from a different angle. Mine would be more intelligent. And then his would be obviously funnier.
Yeah.
So, but for some reason that never worked out. But either way, our paths had crossed. And then, so many years later, we're sitting here talking about food. So I respect everything that you had done to kind of get me in the door. I don't respect your palate at all.
I get it.
I think that you have the fucking palate of a maybe 13-year-old boy tops.
This is not
at
true.
times. Has it gotten
This
better?
is not true.
So
I have a versatile palate.
Okay.
Like I can scale it down. I can scale it up.
How old are you?
40.
When your kids come over and you're going to make a dinner for them, what do you make?
Well, for them?
Yes, for them.
Chicken nuggets.
Chicken nuggets and fucking smiley fries, right? I mean,
they are particularly picky. So it's chicken nuggets, it's pizza, plain pasta. We call them noodles in my house.
Right.
That's like it.
But does that break your heart, or is it something that you're okay with? And again, I'm gonna talk down to Kevin about food today, just because I like
snobby asshole.
Yes, because I'm a snobby asshole and I want to keep that going. But honestly, is that something that breaks your heart that the kids aren't adventurous, or is that never a fucking priority for you? So it doesn't really matter.
No, it's not really a priority for me. I mean, it's more like a pain in the ass at times, where it's just like, hey, even things like pizza are like still like it's got to be the right pizza and the right this and that.
Right.
So that's annoying when I'm like, we are on the go or, in a pinch. Can you just have some pizza? And it's like, no, I want
really.
So that part's annoying. But I'm not one of these people, like, I don't really care, like, if you don't eat, if your palate's not great. Like, I mean, I would like them to eat more vegetables and fruits and shit just to be like healthier. But like, I'm not like, why are you not eating salmon? They're 8 years old. I don't expect them to.
Did your mom and dad push it on you? I mean, was it one of those things?
No,
mine
we were
didn't.
we were pretty like, I would imagine standard like Irish family, like London broil and mac and cheese.
Nobody knows about London broils anymore.
London broil was like
it was once a week.
Oh, it was like it was literally London broil and Easy Mac was like the dish. And I actually, part of the reason I got married, I remember Caitlin telling me like that was like her family's like dish too, and I was kind of like, oh my god, we're meant to be.
Yeah.
Then I realized it's all the white trash Irish people are eating London broil.
And you see it sometimes on like a steam table or something, but as much as you see like brisket and roast beef and all that kind of stuff. My mom was a roast beef person too. I never
You don't see the London broil?
I don't even see it in grocery stores as much.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I think after this, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna fuck up a London broil.
Let's go.
Yeah, and I remember
it's almost like VCR and Betamax.
Yeah,
it's just like for whatever reason, this one got hot and this one didn't. I don't know.
But I can almost speak intelligently about different cuts of meat. Oh, the tri-tip is from here.
Mm-hmm.
The butt is actually the shoulder, like all that stuff.
What is London broil?
I don't know what fucking London broil is. So that was something I took for granted.
Does it have to do with is it a name London broil or the city? Like, is there something about?
No, I mean, I'm assuming that it's one of these cuts, one of these roasts, like a chuck roast or something like that. I honestly don't know.
Oh, so it's a cooking method.
Oh.
Rather than a specific cut of meat, so it's not cut at all. Typically used with leaner, often tougher steaks like flank steak or top round. It involves marinating the meat and then cooking it, usually obviously by broiling or grilling, to a medium rare doneness and then slicing it thin against the grain.
Yeah, so I think that when we used to get it, and obviously I'm much older than you and I realize that, it used to be sold as London broils. Like in the butcher counter, we used to buy them as London broils. So I'll take it as part of top round because it is a tougher cut. And I will tell you, my mom didn't originally do the marinating part of it.
I was gonna say I don't think
salt and pepper.
It's basically she just got a shitty piece of steak and cut it diagonal. That's really exactly, it. That's what a London broil is.
Yeah. And if you didn't cut it right, you could literally floss with the fucking pieces. And I think it was one of those like come to Jesus moments. The first time not necessarily my mom, but any mom around 1980 decided to put meat into a Ziploc bag with a bottle of Italian dressing, and that fucking revolutionized everything. All of a sudden, chicken parts were going into whatever the bullshit dressing was flying off the fucking shelves because it became like that that gourmet thing where the husband's like, oh, the London broil's a little more zesty today.
What's the secret? Hidden Valley
if
oil and vinegar.
Knew. Was your mom a good cook?
No, I don't think so. She hates it. She had her dishes that she could do well, but she does not like to cook at all. But I would say I think she makes a really good meatball. I'm sure like Italians would be like, this is not good. But to me, I really like their meatballs. She made good thin chicken cutlets. London broil was a big one.
Did you do fish on Fridays or is that
we're not a seafood family. Okay. And then the one dish that I think is pretty unique to her, and I really don't have it much anymore. I miss it. We called it pork chops and red slop.
Oh,
and it was
awful.
It was so good. It was like I don't know what it was. It was pork chops in this red slop. It was like a onion red marinade. Like it wasn't marinara sauce, but it was red in color, more watery. I really don't know what it was to this day.
But you guys loved it.
We called it pork chops and red slop, and we loved it. I remember like a family moment that we talk about every get together was we were also a big like eat in front of the TV white trash family. Like we didn't do like sit down dinners. We had the fold out tables.
How many were there?
I have three kids and the two parents.
Okay.
So we were often eating in the living room, and one of us brought our plate in, put it down, and then like ran back to the living room, to the kitchen to get napkins, whatever. And we come back, plate is gone, like clean, like it was just a plain plate. And I was like, "What the fuck happened here?" And it was like a mystery for a split second. And then we see our family dog covered. Yeah. He had white fur just covered in red slop, and he was just sitting there like it wasn't me.
Yeah, red slop though. I don't like the marketing on that. It's like, yellow diamonds being marketed as piss. My mom used to make fried fish with white sauce. And I was like, oof, what the fuck was that? But it was just a pan like roux, and then she put milk into it with salt and pepper. Absolutely delicious, but probably not something that you'd see on a menu.
Right.
I'm disappointed with the amount of people that I talk to, particularly in this firm, I still call it a firm, that didn't grow up with parents that cooked. I haven't talked to like Rhea or anybody who seems like maybe they came from the hardcore Italian family.
Yeah.
But it just is one of those things. So coming from a place where you said your mom was a good cook, she didn't enjoy it. There were a couple of dishes.
Yeah.
She did it, right?
Yeah.
Don't you feel like you want to buck the trend? Is it one of those things where you at some point want to be one of those guys who sits down and just kills it in the fucking kitchen? Or is that not a priority to you at all?
It would be like a bonus. Like I would be proud of it, and it would be a skill I wish I had. And like, but it's not like I'm not one of these guys. Like I'm not handy. I am not great on the grill. I'm proficient. If you want me to cook up some steaks and burgers, I can do it. It's not going to be the best meal you've ever had, but I'm also not one of these people that's like clueless. Like I wouldn't know how to do it,
Uh-huh.
But when these, my lawn, some carpentry work, electrical work, like it doesn't bother me that I can't do it. I'm just like, I don't know.
Well, what can you do? That's my whole thing. Like, I am not handy at all. Like, I can hang a picture very well. I'm into mollies and all those things you throw into the wall. So I'm good at that. And it actually comes up a lot more than you would think. And I come from a line of very handy guys. They're all, local guys. My dad's local 40. My brothers are both local.
Yeah, my dad was, like, I always blame my dad. I'm like, you didn't teach me enough.
He didn't do it.
Like I have all the memories of like doing the projects with him. I think it was very like, here, help me out with this. And then as soon as I couldn't do it, he'd be like, just give it to me. Let me finish it.
Right.
What I mean? So I never actually learned. But I mean, I vividly remember doing him and my mom were always fixing something around the house. They were landlords. They were flipping things. So they were always, and so I remember being a part of that, but it did not like stick with me to the point that I could do. And again, these are things like if I needed to, if I watched a YouTube and got the instructions, I could do some basic stuff. It's not like I'm totally illiterate, but does not come like second nature to me.
So then when you were growing up and you were going to school, was it one of those things where it was a commute, or were you home for lunch every day? In grammar school?
Grammar school.
Catholic or public?
Public. I was always public school. No, in school, I didn't go home for lunch. It was just, you're talking like in school?
Yeah.
Just cafeteria, like.
And disgusting, or what's like
I was
your
a bologna
memories
kid.
from that? Were you a bologna kid?
Yeah, bologna, American and mayo. Disgusting on white bread. True Wonder
And now, are you still that?
I do. I don't eat bologna, but I do enjoy it.
Right.
Like I don't get it, but if you threw down a pound of bologna thinly sliced right now, I would hammer. Like a boar's head. I don't want like the thick Oscar Mayer with the weird thing
The
around
skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me some like thinly cut, like can see through it type of bologna, and I'll roll those up and eat that raw dog.
I just did Au Cheval this week. So Au Cheval just dropped this week that it came out. So Au Cheval is one of these like fancy burger places.
Wait, let me just interrupt. So the slop was sauteed onions with a fair amount of can of tomato sauce, and then separately pork chops or chicken breasts, and then she would saute that a fair amount until it was red slop with pork or red slop with chicken. So I guess it's really just onions
like a
and red slop.
cacciatore. Yeah. So I'm very happy about that, because I thought she was going to be like, it was ketchup, Kevin, and we just never told you. It's ketchup and onions, or she opened up like a bag of those Sabret onions that you put on the hot dogs.
That actually is the consistency of it.
Oh,
so
is
that
it?
wouldn't have been, I know what those taste like, but that could have easily been it.
An elite topping for a hot dog is Sabret red onions from the thing. I just cracked open a bag last week because I grilled my first hot dog of the season. Two of them, mustard, relish, and sauerkraut on one.
Relish is so underrated.
Yeah. And so
I got into relish in my later years. I never as a kid, but nowadays
it creeped you out as a kid?
Yeah, it just felt like there's a lot of things, especially with food, that I deem to be like fancy or just like out of the ordinary, where I was just like, that's not what we do. We just put mustard on hot dogs.
Right.
I was not adventure. I don't want to call relish adventurous, but I would just be like, if there's a regular way to eat these things, that's what I'm probably going to default to.
I would go back to Au Cheval just because, so it's a very recognizable name, particularly for people out in Chicago, because it's like their Fort Charles. It's actually owned by the same people who do Fort Charles here. So when I went out there, I did the same burger that you would get here at Fort Charles. I did some bone marrow with this beef cheek marmalade. And then I also did their bologna sandwich, and they make their own bologna and they fry it into very thin slices.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably have like 20 slices on the thing on a soft brioche with some sort of melted cheese sauce and like a Dijon mustard on it. And Kev, I'm telling you, you pay a lot of money for it, right?
Yeah.
Because you can, I guess. And
even though it's bologna, it's
fucking awesome. It's homemade.
Bologna's still like the assholes and the eyeballs, right?
I think it's lips and assholes, but there's like this garlic note in the back of this thing. And I love bologna. You know what? Once you love bologna as a kid and then you become an asshole as you get older like me, then you love mortadella.
Yeah, you can't.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like, oh yeah, I eat fucking mortadella.
It's the same
now.
goddamn shit.
Yeah, but I'm still a fucking bologna guy. So when I see this on the menu, and then Devlin and I, when we were down in Daytona or Talladega last year, we went to this fucking double wide that was serving fried bologna sandwiches, thick cut like that.
Mm-hmm.
So one single slice fried up with just yellow mustard and diced onions on it on a fucking potato bun. I've smoked bologna. I shouldn't say that out loud, but I smoked bologna. I smoked bologna for a sandwich of the month too. So I'm not an apologist for it. I fucking love bologna. So we're there. I think that's where we are.
That's our
probably simpatico. That's our Venn diagrams kind of intersect. But when I first started here, you said large. My first day, I sat next to you. And in Millmore's seat, I never got to meet that gentleman, but didn't he used to have a seat next to you?
Probably.
Like HQ.
He was like a ghost.
Yeah. So I sat there my first day, and within a week, you have to try this chicken from a steam table. And, that's my first impressions, and that's what sticks with me the most.
I ate that chicken like every day.
It was disgusting. It was a steam table thing.
First of all, it was a steam table chicken. It's not like I was saying, there's a Michelin star dish, but it was delicious.
I think that
it was almost like a ranchy, like whatever kind of sauce that was.
Fast forward then, and then we go to Talercio's. You know those guys who make those gigantic sandwiches down in like Red Bank? Shout out those guys. They're fantastic.
They're fried
raviolis.
Raviolis are unbelievable.
And they also do a chicken, I think it's chicken Talercio, where they do it almost like wrapped at a pinwheel.
That's
again,
similar, yeah.
with a sweet sauce.
Yes.
And so when I had it, because I went down there and I made a sandwich again years ago.
That's
They had a
actually
sandwich named after
exactly
me.
what it is.
And I said, this is something that Kevin would love. And the gentleman who has a big personality from there says, that's what I bring up when I come to the office.
Yes.
They bring you. So you have that sweet.
So why are you talking like if a gourmet?
I didn't like it.
Colercio's, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I'm being consistent there.
Maybe you have the bad palate.
No, maybe it is me. No, but it's like that honey walnut shit you see on shrimp sometime in Chinese
Little
food.
tangy, little
Sweet
creamy,
and sticky
like,
thing.
yeah,
That's how I got it. That's what I get from you when I think about it. But now
I
that
never made that connection because when they do bring the chicken Colercio, I'm always like, give me the fried raviolis and whatever that one special is. And it's
I think you took home a fucking tray
probably
once.
did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's why I think you're a fucking animal. And that's nothing personal because, I
but
love
that
you
makes
like a
me
brother.
feel better that a gourmet those guys do know what they're doing and they made that for a reason.
And if you are lucky enough to have a place in New York City where you're pumping out stuff in a steam table and that's included, there's a reason because it's going out the door to a lot of people who,
I used to probably put like a 5 pound thing,
And I just remember sitting there watching it and I was utterly disgusting.
I'm also, that's my thing is I think that's a little bit of like autism or whatever it is. Like when I get on a food, I'll eat it for like 50 straight days.
And then you eat it till you don't like it anymore?
Yeah, but not in like a permanent way. It just kind of like eventually cycles out.
Take a
like
break.
I'm in general, I'm a big taco, burrito, Mexican guy. And I remember during the pandemic, I had like the same type of taco. I think it was like 51 straight days.
Really?
Yeah.
Making it at home? No.
Yeah.
Oh, making it at home?
Yeah.
Because the producer here, Ian, does the same fucking thing.
I'll make tacos. I'm mostly on a chicken taco kick. And I'll make it at the beginning of the week and just like eat it all week.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's like that. I hate when they call it white people taco night, but it's one of those things with the old El Paso kit, like that type of shit.
Yeah. The chicken is probably a little more it's pretty much that. It's pretty much the pre-made shit. But what I do, so here's what I do. I do soft taco, tortilla.
Yeah.
I love sour cream. I think sour cream is the most underrated of all condiments.
Can I throw a shout out? You know this girl, Ray? She's one of the new people.
Yeah, she's a big sour cream girl.
So she had to do 3 of her top 3 condiments. And so then we did, what would mine be? And, one of them was like ranch, which I can't stand fucking ranch dressing. And there were a couple of, then she said sour cream. And I was so fucking impressed. I put sour cream on anything. And when I use it.
And I put a lot, like do a dollop, do several dollops.
And if I do the dollop, I don't throw the spoon back in without, you know what I mean? Because it's like peanut butter. You know what I mean? Like you never
most people wouldn't think of that, but I could eat a
spoonful of sour cream.
I don't even go with the dollop. I get the squeeze bag.
Right. The Daisy, Yeah, one of them, the Daisy screen. I'm a Breakstones guy, I think, till the day I die. But yeah, so I think that's an elite fucking thing. Potato pancakes, French fries, any kind of omelet. And I do so much of it on Mexican food. I mix it with a little bit of lime juice so I can call it a fucking crema.
Is Mexican or white? The sour cream. Mexicans do use it or don't use it? Authentic Mexicans do use it, right?
Authentic Mexicans use sour cream. They usually thin it out with something like lime juice, so they call it crema.
It is almost like watery.
And you can do it in like that squeeze bottle thing.
Yeah. I go tortilla, I coat it with sour cream, crush up tortilla chips, or now I'm on Doritos. Sprinkle that on for the crunch, shredded cheese, rice, chicken. So it's like almost like a cheesy gordita crunch, and that's the soft, but it's got the crunch and the shredded chicken. I'm on a huge rice kick, and I will have those probably like lunch and dinner for 5 straight days and make it again. Here we go again and again.
And will you make for the kids?
They eat beef tacos. Like they'll just do like, ground beef with the packet, you know what I mean?
Right.
And they just have like beef on either a soft shell or a hard shell, like nothing else.
Now that you got some dough, right? Like when everybody got paid out for the pen thing, which is obviously no secret, and you bought the beautiful house, which is now a money pit, right? It's unbelievable how much money you got to put into it every fucking day. Have you decided to go up a level? And as you go into grocery stores, instead of buying just steakums, go for a fucking bone-in ribeye type thing? It's one of those things that you what did you class up? Because the house was a huge,
food.
The glow up.
Not food. Cheese. I get good cheese.
Okay.
I don't know if I was always pretty ridiculous with my money even before I had it. Like, it's not like I was like, penny pinching, and then all of a sudden I could afford what I wanted. Like I was always kind of just, I'll figure it out.
So is there anything that you've always wanted to have that you just haven't had yet? Not necessarily for money reasons, either because you're just afraid of it or you haven't had any kind of access to it for real?
Food wise?
Yeah.
I'm very interested in the Wagyu beef world.
Okay.
I've definitely had it before, but probably not a lot. Or I think I bought it myself, and then it's like, if you don't know what you're doing with it,
you fucking ruin it.
Point,
Yeah.
So I had it and I was like, this is fine, but I'm sure if I cooked it the right way, it would be even better. And I, everyone I just keep hearing omasake, right? Omakase. Yeah. So, and I'm not a huge sushi guy, but that guy, Philip Franklin Lee, who was here, I was at a party with him in South by Southwest. He like catered it, and he was making some like very standard sushi dishes. And I was like, all right, let me see what all the fuss is about. And I was like, this was fucking fire.
That's what I mean. I think when you go and you spend, and I don't mean the $1,000 I spent on the ribeye poppy steak where they brought it out in the fucking
and the suitcase. It was
the dumbest thing in the world.
Presentation is what you're paying.
7 people around it. And I couldn't get a glass of water during it.
Right.
And the steak was good, but it wasn't great. But if you go to one of these places, maybe even in one of these omakases or like izakayas or something like that, and you have that one where you just put it in and it disappears in your mouth, that beef. I don't know. I think it's one of those things where it's going to, I hate to say like life-changing type shit, but I could see you being somebody who kind of gets into it.
I mean, for sure, when I find something I like I said, I hammer it. What I mean? It's almost like, but like, I don't know, the caviars of the world and things like that.
Does that turn you off?
Not turn me off, but I'm just like, this doesn't do it for me.
Really?
Yeah.
And then when you went from wine, going from $2 chuck,
that
15,
is actually
30,
something. Yeah. Wine is probably, I was, when I couldn't afford it or shouldn't have been, I was drinking cake bread and I was drinking, Silver Oak and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I very much feel like once you go there with wine, it's hard to go back.
I think that I'm at a point now, and I've been drinking wine a lot longer than you have, just, because of my age. I still don't know a ton about wine. I'm going to have a wine guy in a couple of weeks, but I do know what I don't like.
I also I'm for sure, there is definitely like a couple like $20 bottles that I really like. I think Francis Coppola was like a $20 bottle that I really thought was good. It's not necessarily like taste or but I just feel the difference in hangovers and the smoothness and all that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure there's a cheaper bottle that's good, but I feel like on average, if I just buy a $15 bottle, it's like, it has some bite to it. I have the hangover. Whereas almost every bottle that, even if I don't like the taste, I'm like, this feels different. You know what I mean? So that I think holds true.
I took 16 people yesterday to Brooklyn to L&B Spumoni Gardens for my mother-in-law's 80th birthday, just because her family's all from Brooklyn. So they have a restaurant in L&B. So we sit down. I do a little prefix menu just so nobody has to look at stuff. It's my mom and dad and a bunch of older people. They probably didn't want to look at a menu. And when the guy said, you want wine? I said, sure. What do you have? He's like, red or white? I'm like, that's what I like. And he brought out I think it's Opici. It's the Chianti with the straw around it. It's almost in a little basket. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Serve it up. Can I just get some?
We used to do that. Tony DiNapoli's was like, we would get, and it was either that or one of those Magnum bottles that were like
large format shit.
So I mean, prior to that though, there was one called Grandma Patches that was $3 a bottle. And it was in a basket at the register of the liquor store.
Right.
And it was, I was probably 24, 25. So like good wine, bad wine, none of it made a difference to me. So we would just get Magnum bottles and $3 bottles and sit around with my buddies, like red mouth, black teeth, just drinking bottles at a time. And being like, I drink wine now.
Yeah.
It was like, you're drinking, alcoholic grape juice. But
when did you start drinking? How young did you start
drinking in general?
Just drinking wine? Like as a kid?
15.
So 15 would be what year?
2000.
So 2000. What was the drink of choice? I'm always fascinated because what neighborhood do you consider you grew up with in like
For that was Pelham. Like that was Westchester. Was my drinking days.
So Pelham. So what was the drink of choice for 15-year-old KFC and his boys wearing fucking Big Dog T-shirts, right? Yeah, the whole deal, right?
Sean John
Maybe
and
some
Rockaware.
tonics.
Yeah. One of my buddies, his house was right next to I-95. So there was his property line. There was a fence, and there was probably about 20 feet, and then the wall for the highway. So that in between period, we used to, and that was the house we did a lot of drinking at. We would just throw all of our bottles over there.
Perfect. Yeah.
And one day,
landfill.
for whatever reason, they were moving or landscaping, whatever, and his parents were like, "What the fuck is this?"
Right.
And part of like his punishment was like we had to clean it up, and it was like rock, like stratification. It was like, oh, that was 2000, that was 2001, that was 2002. So you could see the way we progressed to drinking. Early on, it was like
Give me three.
Like the earliest was like Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Mike's Hard Lemonade.
So it was like, I can't drink hard shit yet. And even beer, I was like, ugh, choking down. Then we got into our like 40 and 22s. So it was like St. Ides, Colt 45. Steel Reserve was a big one.
Steel Reserve was huge.
Reserve was disgusting. And it was like 9% alcohol.
Yeah.
Fucked
Do you remember Mickey's? So that might have been before your time. They also did 40s. They also did big mouth ones called Stingers, and there was a B on the label. It was Mickey's, like, I don't know what the hell it was. I used to drink Mickey's like it was going out of style.
Biggie has a line about Mickey's, no?
Maybe.
No, private stock, whatever. Okay. Either way.
So we started with Mike's Hard Lemonade, then we went to our 40s
thing. Those are malt liquor in general.
Yeah.
And then I probably settled in at like Bud Light. That was like the go-to. But there was also, similar to wearing the Sean John and the Rockaware, there was Hypnotic, Alizé, all the shit the rappers were talking about. I remember, you remember Incredible Hulk?
Of course I do. That was the Hypnotic and Hennessy. Yeah.
Green, even though it was just like shit brown.
It was like tannish type shit. I made one for like a shot at a day once.
Hypnotic is like radioactive in my mind.
Terrible.
I couldn't believe when all these rappers were talking about it. When I found out it was like $20 a bottle or whatever, I was like, oh, I can get this. And then I drank it. I was like, oh, I understand why.
Yeah.
But the shape of the bottle and the frosted glass and the blue color, I was like, it's all marketing there.
Did the Mad Dog 2020s miss you?
Yeah. That was, no, it didn't miss me. So then when we went to Fordham, like being in on Fordham Road and Webster Ave and 189th, like a lot of those liquor stores have a lot of the Cisco, Mad Dog, bum wine type shit. I dabbled in that, but it was not those were like blackout in a bottle. That was like
I was Brass Monkey and Blackberry Brandy. For some reason, people used to buy Blackberry Brandy, so we'd get fifths of that.
That's crazy.
Go to Flat Rocks on Avenue U on the way towards Kings Plaza. It was like they made this gigantic shopping mall on the corner of Avenue and Flatbush Avenue. And the structure that they needed for the foundation, they had a bunch of them left over. They just dumped them in the water across the street from my house. So I lived, across the street from like a little bit of a swamp.
Yeah.
So we used to go on these gigantic cement things, and there was like nooks and crannies. You could light a fire down here. Everyone would bring a bottle and a radio and a couple of brushes. Obviously, you keep your shit tight. And we just drink Blackberry Brandy and Brass Monkey and Mad Dog and
what was Brass Monkey?
Butts Heavy. Brass Monkey was it tasted like lemonade.
Yeah. I'm thinking of that was a
Brass Monkey was
a mix, no?
No. Brass Monkey was, you could buy a bottle of Brass Monkey. Most people know it from the Beastie Boys song, right?
Yeah.
But it was like, because they used to put pouring a monkey, mixing in a cup. Brass Monkey.
Wasn't there something that was like beer mixed with like orange soda or something like that?
That was the Brass Monkey.
I thought that's what Brass Monkey was.
I'm going to have to say right now because they also have it up as a cocktail. But it was 1970s and 80s produced a premixed cocktail labeled Brass Monkey. That was the one that I used to do. And it was made in Hartford, Connecticut. But it also is a cocktail now. I think it tastes like either lemonade or orange juice. I can't remember.
There's something what orange, the whole thing juice, was. Or soda, whatever. Yeah.
No, they used to have Tango. Tango is one of the ones in the bottle too. Again, this predates you, and I'm in a different neighborhood. Although I was born on Fordham Road. Yeah. I don't know if you knew that. And then I moved to Brooklyn, and I grew up on the ass end of Brooklyn. But your taste in alcohol have definitely then come a long way.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, there was a period where I was drink anything under the sun. Did you do a lot of like the mixed up, like the jungle juices of the world?
Yeah, we used to do a lot of that
Skippies?
Stuff. What's that?
Skippies?
No.
Skippies was a 30 rack, a bottle of vodka, and a a whole thing of lemonade powder.
Really?
Vile, disgusting. But I vividly remember stirring it with a wiffle ball bat in a cooler, and then my friend went to the hospital that night.
Really? Yeah. We used to do when we were coming home from Citigroup, and so we're all professionals. We're in suits, but every Friday we would take the train back from Hoboken and take like a slow train up. So everyone would park their car at my house in the morning. So I'd have like 5 or 6 cars outside my house. And there was a local limousine company with a beat up limo, and they would charge us, I think, $120, so $20 a head, and they would drop us off in front of Citigroup in the morning.
Hell yeah!
And it was perfect, So we get dropped off in front of Citigroup. Out, the running lights, this old school white limo. It was disgusting. So we'd show up there, and the reason we did that is so we could purposely take the slow train back on Friday night, and we would get lemonade, we would get vodka, and we would get beer. So it was vodka and lemonade with a floater of beer on top of it. And we called them shark bites, but I've heard so many other people call them so many different things, almost like a shandy. And I fucking love them.
We did Man Mosa was a thing for a little while in Hoboken.
That was the beat.
It was like a one specific spot. It was a Blue Moon shot of Stolio, I think Sprite or something like that.
Maybe
a little bit of bubbles.
Yeah.
It was delicious. It was
really
good. It was
I think that's where I'm starting.
For a brunch drink, you know what I mean?
I'm gravitating towards that now. So I slowed down on my drinking precipitously about 1.5 years ago. And I find like now I can't drink as much beer as I used to.
Dude, just the volume was the problem.
I used to be like Shane Gillis, like I just could drink and drink and drink. I don't have it in my bag anymore, and I'm very happy about it. So like I can go out and have a couple of drinks, but now I'm gravitating back to my roots. I'm gravitating back towards the sweet shit. Like, and if I'm smoking, you smoke cigars? No. When I smoke a cigar, I smoke it with something sweet. So like a port or a fucking black cherry soda.
Something happened to me right around 30, I guess, where like alcohol just did not hit the same way. I was getting like back of my neck was like itchy and the hangover was really bad. I almost wonder, I almost felt like an allergy in a weird way.
Yeah.
But it was something like I was the same way. I used to hang out, like drink with a lot of big guys who all could put them away because they were like your size.
Right.
But they all always, like to a man, were like, he can hang with us just as much. You know? So I always could put away volume. And then like I don't know what happened. There was a time, what really fucked me up was the flavored vodka era.
Yeah.
The
Pinnacle.
Pinnacle.
Yeah.
Pinnacle was the beginning of it. And then there was just everything under the sun. Cupcake flavored and this flavored, that flavored. And
you're so white trash.
So white trash.
Unbelievable.
I mean, that was the Upper East Side, to the maximum. Creamsicle, all these things are delicious.
Yeah.
But
Pinnacle used to have a Swedish fish flavored vodka. And I got to be honest, it was intriguing.
Shit hit.
Yeah.
But they obviously were such cheap, shitty Burnett's, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember I went through a phase where I would be like, and like people were like, you're like,
oh, really?
Turning red. And I was like, yeah, I think also my throat is closing up. And they were like, I think you're like allergic to this.
Yeah.
And I was like so dumb and didn't care. I just like kind of kept drinking through it. But I think I developed some sort of like alcohol allergy almost. Where I was like, this is not fun anymore for me.
We were in Florida at a resort and Annie had her first like rum drink. She never drank rum. And then it started to close her throat. And they hit her with an EpiPen.
Wow.
Like, yeah, I was already looking around to see if there was any other options for me there. Like, you know what I mean? I was ready to cut fakes. It was so young to the thing. So we have to like tread lightly with that. But I can drink anything. Like I said, I'm slowing down. I wonder now because my kids are, I don't even know what my kids are, 15, 18, and 21. Are
they doing the Borgs yet?
The Borgs, like, so Mick, the one in college, does all that shit, right? Like, so, and Finnegan, the senior in high school, has a couple of drinks, but he'll have a couple of drinks with me. Like yesterday at L&B's. Oh, Dad, can I have a couple glasses of wine? Absolutely. Here's the O-Peachy. Just put a couple ice cubes in it. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
I wonder how I would be if my kids were to be as delinquent as I was.
Oh, yeah. Like, I mean,
I started drinking at 12.
Yeah.
I was on a dart team at 13.
Right.
And it was never disrespectful to my parents. My dad was always working. My mom was one of the hardest working people I've ever seen. So we would come home, kind of go to bed. It was no harm, no foul.
But like, I remember walking around town. We would drink like in the woods. It was called the woods party. It was on the golf course, whatever. Right. And I remember walking to the party with, 6 packs in hand. And I remember the cops stopping us and we tried to like throw them in the bushes and they caught us. And they took everything from us and let us go. And then to get to the party, we had to walk by the police station. And as we passed it, they came back out and they were like, what is this piss you guys drink? They clearly were like, hey, we're going to steal these kids' shit and drink it. And they open it up and it's Steel Reserve. And they're like, what the fuck is this? And I think about that. I'm like, I don't want my kids drinking like malt liquor. Like, especially, I don't want my daughter doing that. Like, have a nice Sauvignon Blanc, Shay.
How will you introduce it to them?
I don't know. I've gone back and forth. I'm like, I definitely don't want to be that, like you can drink at my house parent.
You can't be anymore.
But beyond that, like,
particularly you. Like I tell my kids too, I'm like, even though, and I'm a hypocrite because I've been now at Barstool for 6 years. So that's with Mick going from 15 to 21. Mm-hmm. So that's when all that shit happens. And I'm like, I can understand that if you go, and some parents would say to us, and I have a question to follow up on this one at some point. A parent would say to us, hey, listen, we're going to have a couple of beers for the kids. Are you okay with it? Mm-hmm. And, put it out there, make sure nobody drives. And I'd be like, yeah, okay. And then I'd have to tell my son that can't happen. It can't be reciprocal.
The other way around,
because somebody can't take a picture with a Barstool flag. Hey, listen, I'm at this
drinking.
You know what I mean? Like you do have to tread lightly as far as that goes.
I get the logic of like, I'd rather you do it under my roof and not drive. And it's like, I get that. But now you're also just like the weird scumbag who's providing like 16-year-olds with alcohol. You just can't do it. You just can't do it.
Might as well put fucking webcams in the bathroom.
Right. But I definitely believe in the idea of like, if you go off to college having not experienced it at all, you're going to be the person blacking out and going to the hospital.
Right.
So I think a happy medium, like, I remember being 15, like at the bar doing like, $10 all you can drink at North Avenue. Like, I think it was the underage drinking capital of the world. We had strips of bars that were like next to the police station, 15 years old, like cops right there. Nobody cared. It was awesome. But I'm also like, I don't need my kids doing that.
But as that whole culture transfers over to weed, like I can tell you right now, when my son was going to a graduation party, one of the people who were throwing it, like, we're going to have a couple of kegs and we're going to have a pizza truck there and we're going to have a beer pong table there and we're going to have a karaoke machine, like with a tent. You and your wife are more than welcome to come. The kids will be having a couple of beers there. Again, nobody's going to be driving. And if anyone does seem like they're way out of it, I'll call you guys. I'll send everyone home in an Uber. This is the parents talking to us. We said, thanks very much. We stopped by, had a beer while the kids were in the tent. I sang Jam On It by Nucleus, which allegedly Francis never heard before. And then we left and Mick had a couple, came home. No harm, no foul. And I think it was a very good way to handle a graduation party for kids that had been drinking a little bit for the past couple of years. So, but what happens now if we get so comfortable with weed that if that parent says to me in 3 years when Bridget is doing it, we're going to have just a couple of bongs, a couple of edibles, and a couple of vape pens.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to be down for that.
I know, but I think so. I think that's just because we grew up with like a stigma around it.
But do you think these younger parents are going to be like, I don't even know who a younger parent is. You think Rowan's going to be like, yeah, okay, just make sure. You think so?
I do. I mean,
it might be. It's more
available
healthy
at the corner store the way it is alcohol. You know what I mean? Like it's probably more healthy in some ways. I think you start to get. I think we as a society have gone a little bit nuts with like ketamine and mushrooms. That seem to be just like casual. Hey, microdose it. It's like we're talking about hallucinogens here.
Yeah.
Like at some point, that I think I don't think I want like the kids at the high school party just popping caps and stems like it's no big deal.
Right.
But I could see weed getting there for sure. If not already, like
and I haven't seen it yet. So I'm your man on the street right now. I got my ear to the ground in that just because like Finn's going through it too. Like I said, Bridge will in a couple of years, and I haven't seen it, but I think I'm gonna. I don't know.
So they don't dabble at all.
No.
So for us, it was hard. You had to fucking have a dealer, a connection. Then you also had to have somebody who knew how to roll or a bowl or a pipe of some sort, Now it's like this is pre-rolled or a vape pen or edible. Like it's just there. I mean, we used to be cutting holes in fucking soda cans and apples and all that shit.
For absolute dirt weed mixed with oregano. Stems and seeds. Pebbles. And now it's almost like, it's prescription. Like people are stealing it from their.
I actually think my main thing that would scare me for my kids is it's too strong.
Yeah.
Like, I used to be able to like, we would smoke a whole blunt or everybody would smoke like their own joint. Now it's like, I take one hit of this
and you're
medical
gone.
Shit. I am fucking zonked.
I will tell you, the guy who runs Top Rank 93-year-old guy gave me an edible, and I was coming back from Las Vegas, and I was like, I'm on a red eye. I got to sleep. I don't sleep on planes. I'm too big. And so he gave me one, and I popped it thinking this guy is, he's almost dead, right? One foot in the grave, the other on a banana peel.
No,
I threw it in. I was seeing dead relatives.
Yeah.
I thought at one point, I was like, what if I reached for the fucking thing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what do I grab the door?
I smoke to go to sleep every night now. Like sober sleep or natural sleep is just a thing of the past.
Right. So just an indica type thing or something. Yeah.
And it's like, that's the only time. It's not like I really do it almost. It's just, I go right to fucking sleep.
The 3 cheese stuff, which is like the diet weed or something. Yeah. Okay.
That was a sponsor for a while. They were Delta 9.
Delta 9O, by the way. Yeah. Right.
It's the smoothest of them. I remember people being like, oh, is this like CBD? And then it was like, no. That was Bob Fox's mom. She thought it was CBD.
Oh, really?
She took it for like her arthritis. Uh-huh. And she, classic, like I wasn't feeling it after one, so I took another one. And then I think she took like 3 whole edibles.
Did she?
And I think like Bob had to take her to the hospital. So it was like a whole event. Right. Because that shit that got the job done.
By the way, Bob Fox's mom has a very apropos last name. She's a good looking woman.
Yeah.
I crashed a wedding he was in. They were in a wedding in Ridgewood the other day. Yeah. So I walked right in. I said, hey, Mr. Fox. You know what I mean? And that's on the table for me. Once Andy wises up and gets the fuck out of here. Reason I bring up booze is because you got this thing now.
Yeah, this was the evolution. I remember being, this was probably like 09, 2010.
I will tell you that before, you used to do a behind the blogger thing, where you went with every person and you tried to go someplace where that person related to, as opposed to just doing it in your podcast studio.
That's right.
So you'd ask me and I was like, let's go to Arturo's.
Yeah.
I think we had a nice meal too, right?
We did.
Yeah. So Arturo's in Midland Park, I mention all the time. And so they rolled out the red carpet and we had like an hour and 40 minutes or something.
That was great.
Where we just sat down and ate. And I think at the end of it, you had ordered an espresso martini because I'm a double Bailey's on the rocks. It's just a little bit of Frangelico on top, like Nutty Irishman is called. And that's my after dinner drink. It's my dessert too. I'd rather have that than a dessert. And you had that. I don't drink them because I don't drink coffee. Never been a coffee drinker.
I don't either. It's the great paradox.
Crazy.
I don't drink coffee, but I love the espresso martini.
And I eat a lot of dark chocolate. It's the only chocolate that I eat, and I like that bitterness of it. I just bought Andy an espresso machine last week for our anniversary. And one of those big ones, they're very expensive, by the way. These things, it's not like buying a fucking drip pot anymore. I love the smell of it and all that, but I've never been a coffee guy. So you had started a brand called Midnight Bean. We went to go and have some, one of your launch parties not too far from the office. It was the first time in my life I ever had one.
Oh, wow.
It was the first fucking time. And I said to myself, I'm almost afraid to finish this because I just assume I would shit my pants because that's what everyone says. Their first cup of coffee does it. And no such issues. No. Obviously, it'd be tough to put on the brochure, but I had no such issues.
You won't shit your pants.
It was so delicious, Kev.
Yeah, it really is.
And I don't know how long people stayed at that thing. And I know there was a Knick game that night. So when I seen people starting to move, I was like, let me be fucking traffic out of here. I grabbed the bottle and I stole it. And I don't know if you were giving them out afterwards, but I wasn't there for you maybe giving them out.
No, you stole it.
I flat out stole it. Yeah. I don't give a fuck. That's how much I liked it.
I mean, it's the real deal.
And I then I just put it on my shelf at home. We had people over for Mother's Day. One of Annie's friends, single mom, Jess, absolutely love her. So she came over just to shoot the shit. I was like, you want something to drink? She's like, I could use a drink. As every mom can. And I was like, what are you thinking? And she's like, she's kind of going through the options. I was like, how about an espresso martini? She's like, you can do that? I was like,
I can.
I just bought the espresso machine, I said. And I didn't tell her. I went in, cha, boom, I did it. And we finished the whole bottle.
And she had no idea.
No idea. And I will tell you right now, I think that Pink Whitney is what it is, right? I don't think anyone really gets a hankering for it, but we don't have to. It's in every dorm room around the fucking world. It's good on its own.
Yeah.
I think you have to convince people that this is good because I think people only get it at restaurants with somebody having the espresso sent out from the kitchen. Then they work their fucking magic and they put whatever they want. I'm doing your vanilla vodka, all that kind of bullshit. So I think you have to convince people that stuff like this is good. And I don't know if there's a lot of competitors to Midnight Bean, but I think that this is very, very fucking good. You should be proud of this.
I would not have done anything with this unless it tasted right and had the right consistency.
Right.
I was like, I would rather not do this at all than do it halfway at all, you know? And Sazerac brought me down to Louisville where their like main distillery is. And
so Sazerac is huge. Sazerac makes everything.
The biggest, or Diageo. They're like one of the thousands and thousands of brands.
Right. And so it's like to be better at Fireball. Yeah, everything that you know, 3 different companies make it. You know, I think Pink Whitney's a Gallo company.
Diageo,
Sazerac,
right.
yeah. So Sazerac is a fucking monster. So go ahead, you go down there.
And so and you know, they have you know, biochemical engineers working on these things. It's crazy. It's like literally an engineering degree, and then they apply it to the booze world. And they had like an unmarked bottle. It was just like that exact shape, but just like no label. And they shook it for me, and they poured it out. And once I saw the foam, I was like, whoa, because the foam is like, that's the thing. You know, you want to have it a little bit. Some people like it with Bailey's, a little bit creamy, but you need the froth for lack of. It's not a great term, but the froth, the foam,
the head on it.
The head. It makes it feel like a nice, like, you know, after dinner cocktail. So that was like first step where I was like, oh whoa, there's foam. And then when I took a sip and it was as good as it was, I was like, oh, I never considered that a pre-made one could be this level. And then I just let the martini sit there for probably 30 minutes while we did the rest of the presentation, and just on purpose, I wanted to see, and it held the foam like the whole time.
It falls like a Guinness.
Yep.
And I will tell you, if you guys go out, and so it's available everywhere. It's not an ad, right? Because he doesn't pay me. But I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't say it if I didn't like it. And I will tell you, you do not get the whole experience if you overstuff the shaker.
The main thing, you need a couple cubes of ice and only shake what you're drinking.
Yes.
If you try to shake the whole bottle, it's not going to work.
If you do one of these mini bullshit shakers, you're not aerating this fucking thing, so you're not getting that foam. But if you shake it up and again, that's actually a good point too. Not crushed ice. Try to use cubes because you don't want to water this thing down, and it does get cold very quickly. So you bang that out and you pour it, and it looks almost exactly like a Guinness.
Yep.
Like you could pour it into a mini pint and it would look fucking cool as shit.
And when you really get it right, you can see like the ribbons kind of
starts
like,
to go. Yeah. And I'm telling you, and then you put the 3 beans on. Why the fuck are you so enamored with this drink? What was the first time you had it where it became?
This was like 2009, 2010. I had just met Caitlin, my ex-wife, and I was like in Bud Light mode. And we went on a nice date. Not a nice date. It was like an Upper East Side bar probably.
Yeah.
And she got, you know, the waiter's like, what can I get you? I'm like,
nice
Bud Light.
Date.
And she's like,
got fucking Irish nachos at Black Bear. Yeah, I hear you.
But she says espresso martini. And I was kind of like, I had definitely never even heard of that at that point. And I wasn't a coffee drinker, but I think I just like had a sip of hers, and I was like, this is great. And then she just got them. I think she learned about it from a fancy woman she worked with, so it just kind of trickled down.
Right.
And then she was always getting them, and I was always getting them, and it became like our drink, where it was like, you know, we had a couple. It was one of those things where if you went to like a wine bar or a martini bar, they had them. You went to a nice restaurant, they had them. You go to a lesser bar, they might have them, but they probably don't know what you're talking about. But if we found places that did do it, it was like, oh, we got to go there because they make them. But 50% of the time, if not more, it was always like, no, I don't know what you're talking about, or no, we don't have an espresso machine, we don't have the ingredients, whatever. So it was kind of hit or miss. Now it's like everywhere. You know, it's like the cocktail. It's like seltzer. To me, seltzers and espresso martinis like have the last 5-10 years.
Tap in most, like some place they have it on tap and shit like that. Yes. So I get it.
But so when this came out, I was like, the one thing we always had to go out to get them, and I'm kind of a homebody. I like to be on the couch, you know, couch Clancy, and we would try to make them at home. But it just wasn't, you know, Bailey's.
I need to go on a small tangent, and I'm going to come back to it because I love this fucking alcohol. Would you, and just so I know about you, would you rather have a very good meal inside a restaurant, or would you rather have that same meal slightly worse because nothing's as good when it's to go
at home
in front of the fucking TV like you used to when you were a kid eating pork and red slop?
Totally. I don't know. Maybe that
your parents fucking ruined you.
Yeah, they probably did. I think they raised me right, but
yes,
you probably
exactly.
They
they probably did raise you right, especially now.
When I'm at a restaurant, especially when I'm at these fucking guineas at the Italian
we're the exact opposite.
Where it takes like 4 hours and you go through all these courses. And I'm like, I don't even have the menu yet. I'm like, it's loud. I'm strangers around me. I would so much rather be at home, comfortable in front of the fire. The game is on. We're on the couch. 100%.
And give up a little bit. Because, I mean, I'm right. Nothing's as good to go except for an egg sandwich. I like an egg sandwich just because it steams inside.
Yeah, it gets a little
There's
like
something
gooey,
about it. Yeah.
Bread is almost wet. Yeah.
Yeah. So
but I would rather give up a little bit of quality in exchange for comfort.
Because that makes so much fucking sense with this thing now. So now you get the same exact fucking veal chop that you would have, veal chop Valdestano that they make so fucking great. But now I'm going to have it at home. Yeah, with plastic forks and knives. I'm making that up. And I can do
Actually, you're not right now. My kitchen's under renovation. So like, I'm literally eating fucking paper plates and plastic knives.
My first fucking apartment, I was so proud of it. Everything in boxes. I ordered Chinese food first night. I put on a movie. I can't find my utensils. I had hot and sour soup. I ate it with a shoehorn. I remember that fucking vividly. So now that explains a lot.
I finally, that was 15 years. Like I started in 2010. So for 15 years, I could only get this when I went out. And now in my mind, I was like, oh, we're going to bring the Espresso Martini to your home.
Right.
Which we are. But now I'm also realizing the other side of it. Those bars that I'm talking about that might not have an espresso machine or they don't have a mixologist bartender. Right. But now, every college girl, every kid, everybody wants to drink these. Now you can do it.
I love the fucking idea.
And it's as it truly is. I mean, I can't say if you go to a nice upscale bar, fancy time restaurant where they have authentic espresso. Yes, those are going to be the best of the best. This is like right next to it. It really is. And I've been telling people I'm almost mad about some of the other alcohols that I've done. Like Whistle Pig was a high quality whiskey. I'm okay with that. Okay. But the Pirate Waters and some of the ready to drinks that like I pushed. And because I'm a good salesman and a good employee, I was like, go get them. They're the best.
Right.
But I'm almost like, I wish I saved all my bullets for this. Because when I tell you this is the one, like, it is as good as I say it is. It's as quality as I say it is. Like, I want people to know it. This is my drink. Like, I would not co-sign a shitty one.
Is it a Barstool thing or is it a Kevin thing?
It's a bar. It's like we're in a hybrid world.
Okay, so we're in one of those things. It seems like Pink Whitney is a very Barstool thing in the mass production. I've always wanted to have a wine in my own name, but I was wondering what can I do other than the fact that I know a couple of grapes that I think you'd be crazy about. Like, there's nothing I can do to differentiate.
Well,
I think this is genius.
And this, I think is the best tasting, best quality. I also love the branding and the look that we came up with, the logo, the name, all that. It was originally supposed to be 3 beans. So that's the reason why it's a little bit like hybrid Barstool me. Originally, Nardini set this up. I don't know if Sazerac came to her. She went to Sazerac. She had said to me, Sazerac wants to meet with you about an espresso martini. And she had told me that we trademarked the name. So I was like, all right, it's going to be 3 bean martini. And at that point, we were partnering with Sazerac. It was like they make it, the alcohol. I have the name and the brand, put it together. Come to find out, I don't know what happened. We never got this trademark. Okay. It was right while Nardini was like transitioning out.
What a liar.
So by the time she's gone, I was like, I don't even have the person here anymore who said it.
Right.
But 3 Bean was owned. But there was something, because Dave came up to me at one point and said, are we making an espresso martini? I was like, I'm trying. And he said that some beverage person in Miami went up to him and said, I saw that you guys filed for this trademark. So there was something
done. Yeah.
At one point I heard that maybe it was to sell merch with the name, but not the actual alcohol.
Okay.
Something like that. Turns out there's a brewery in Brooklyn that owns the name 3 Bean. We tried to buy it. They asked for an astronomical amount of money. We couldn't do it. Unfortunately, that then changed it from a partnership to like, we had to come up with a new name. They own the product.
Where'd you get that name?
Kind of just like Mad Libs did together. It was like, I wrote down everything to do with nighttime, coffee, liquor, and I just kind of like, Frankensteined it. And so now it's like if it were to blow up like Pink Whitney, instead of being like tens of millions of dollars, it's like an ad deal almost. It's like a revenue.
Right.
So, so part of me was like, this sucks. I wanted to own it. I wanted to be a partner in it. But once that was off the table, I was still like, this is my best chance to do this, no matter what.
I agree.
I can't. There's no other brand, as I understand it, and I believe them talking to like their engineers. I don't think there's anybody else in the industry who is like on this level.
Are you afraid of that? Like, so here's my pitch. I think that this is a very good drink. The only other thing that I've ever eaten that's coffee based is a coffee ice cream. I had one once where I thought was good.
Same thing. I didn't like the coffee, but I like the coffee.
Yeah. So for those people who think that you don't drink coffee, you don't, but you do probably drink this.
I also think there's different levels. Like when you're drinking alcohol, the plan is to get fucked up or get a buzz or whatever.
Right.
And if you can do it and it's tasty,
yes,
that's a bonus. Whereas like a regular coffee drink, you just have different standards of what you like. You know what I mean? So when it's alcohol and it tastes this good, even if coffee's not your thing, it still right. is, it hits different. So,
but I wound up getting, so I spoke to those guys in Brooklyn. So I wound up getting that copyright. So I'm starting the 3 bean thing. No, but is that what your fear is then with something like this? Is that this will take off gangbusters and the first to market in hard seltzers is not around anymore because everyone just, you know what I mean? Like Bartles and James, like whatever the fuck that became. You know what I mean?
Part of me though is like, again, this is my best shot to do this.
Yeah.
I hope that it crushes and I can prove maybe I do it on my own, or maybe we do work out a deal where, it is a partnership or whatever. I was not about to just turn it down just based on money. You know what I mean? I was like, this is something I'm passionate about. I'm going to do it. And then the money hopefully will fall into place.
What do you need to do with it going forward? Do you have to make like appearances? And
yeah, we did. I have all that signed up. We're at a weird stage right now of like, and I'm learning this like kind of the hard way, trial by fire, is like the alcohol world in America is so fragmented with the legality and the regions and the distributors where it's like, they told me it's going to be available nationwide, meaning everybody that wants it can get it, which is 99% of the battle, to be honest. Like not 99, 75%, because we've done other things where we were telling our fans to go get it and they were like, we're trying and we can't.
Yeah.
And this place, it is available. It's just a matter of, you got to get the distributors, the owners, the bar owners to order it. And so right now we're at that phase of like, tell your liquor store, tell your favorite bartender, please to stock it. But a huge part of the battle is already won in that it's available. It rolls out in different. It might take 2 months for you, 6 months for you, a year for you, but eventually it will be available.
I haven't seen it on the shelves yet.
So that's that's where I thought it was going to be available, and it's like it really is taking its time. You really got to prove to these people that there's a market for it. So I'm hoping everybody who has got it. Oh, we stocked a couple bottles. The couple bottles sell out instantly. Oh, we stocked a case. The case sold out instantly.
Yeah.
Everybody that I've reached out to on social media, I have a thing with. They're like, it's flying off the shelves. Everybody who does drink it. Almost to a man and woman. I saw it a ton of times at the launch party. Everyone takes a sip and they go, oh, it's actually good. Like Kevin, everyone kind of goes into it thinking it's going to be trash. And they're like, oh, wait, it's actually good. I
made one, like I said, for Jess, who is this friend who's bi. I made one for Finn.
She's bi?
My son. She came by. Maybe. Bridget's like, can I try it? My 15-year-old. They made her in a little espresso cup, like that double-walled one.
Yeah.
So she had one. And then Quinn, who's Jess's son, was there. And honest to God,
everybody,
it pumps out.
That's
and
the thing. Everybody who has it likes it. So I just got to get it in front of everyone. Got to get in front of everybody.
Like, do you send a case of this to Tom and Bert?
Yeah. So I sent 50 PR packs that came out awesome, by the way.
You said they were very good.
Really nice presentation. It came with a martini glass, a shaker, a little bottle of beans, and the bottle. And like a little insert card where I explained, my whole story that I just told you.
Was I even on the list for that?
The powers that be told me I was not allowed to send it to people internally because you and a bunch of the powerful girls here. It was 80% chicks because everyone can drink this, but this is a chick drink. I get it,
I think it's one that appeals to them.
Yes.
Like, you know what I'm saying? But all the guys are going to drink it too. I think. Totally. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But they told me they were too expensive to send to the internal people, which I think is crazy because Brianna and Chicks in the Office and Kelly and someone like yourself who drinks would make a video and get it to all their fans.
Easily.
So I don't know. That was whatever. We butted heads on that. But I'm sending it out to reality TV stars and anybody who's in the alcohol space, Tom and Bert, people who have alcohol brands. And again, everybody that I sent it to seems to like it. They're posting it. It's one of those things where it's like, I never intended on making this brand,
Right.
And because of that, it's all happening organically. Like I had the hashtag 3Bean Gang was just like a thing I was doing for social media, for attention, for work,
Right.
Never being like, I'm going to parlay this into a business, So it all felt natural because it was natural.
Right.
And all of these people that I'm sending it to who are drinking it now are people that I've just kind of like friends that I've amassed over the years where it's like, I'm not constantly shilling or something down their throat. So when I'm like, this is important, they're like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? So it's all happening very organically and naturally. And it's a drink that I like. It's almost like everything was building towards this point.
What can I do? Like, what do you think? So that I honestly think that what Ryan has going with Pink Whitney is lightning in a bottle.
But that is my, I'm trying to just replicate everything.
That's the Rosetta Stone. Yeah. And then what you have going here, it's in its infancy, but I do think that it's brilliant.
And the main thing I think, there's a couple competitors. A, I think mine is better. And B, I don't think anybody has any allegiance to any of these brands.
Yeah.
It's so new. If you have a vodka that you like, it's going to take a lot to get you off that vodka.
Right.
Yeah. Same thing with whiskey and bourbon and all these things. It's like, I drink XYZ. And just because my favorite podcaster does this, I'm not going to. But I think this is like, I'll definitely give it a shot. And if it's good, I'll drink it. And I don't care that I'm not drinking these other guys.
Yeah. I think if somebody was to say, can I get one? They're like, oh, we only have this. No, I only do Midnight Bean. You're not there yet. Right. So that's why I think, like, even though it's in its infancy, I really agree with this, which one of the reasons why I had you come in here to talk about it, because I'm excited about it. What the fuck should I do?
I think the main thing. Oh, you for your own, you're talking?
Yes.
Oh,
I was thinking maybe a cigar. Like, is there
that's a world that I don't know. Is that, I feel like that's something where people are like, I smoke Cubans.
Yeah.
Smoke.
I'm just a Macanudo guy. I'm just an Everash guy and stuff like that. I gotta find, because I find this, and it takes a lot to get me hard. Stuff like this gets me excited. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm very excited for you about this whole thing.
Some sort?
Maybe some sort of sauce.
Maybe like hot sauce.
Yeah, I'm a big sauce guy.
But even that is kind of like, if you talking like the barbecue world, it's like very.
Everyone's like, yeah. I saw Mango try to get into it.
A little different than.
Right. I need something, but he's got something. So that's it. I'm going to wrap it up. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
All right. So this is Midnight Bean. So Espresso Martini, again, 17.5 ABV, 35 proof. Make sure you put it in a bit.
Retails at $19.99. That was
is that it? I didn't know that.
That was another
I would have stole too.
I remember being in Sazerac. I was like, this is going to be a $75 bottle. And and I'm just going to, like, people are going to complain, but it is what it is. It's a higher priced item. You're getting martinis. Martinis are $15 to $20 a glass.
Yeah.
And if you're going to get 4 or 5 glasses, and they said, so I was like, I remember everything was good. It looked good, tastes good. I was like, what's the damage? Kind of like, I don't know if we can do 100, Yeah. I said $19.99. And I was like,
because I would have, and I wasn't going as big as you, but I was thinking more in the 40s.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes what I pay for a bottle of vodka.
Totally.
Or something like that.
It's vodka. It's real vodka from Sazerac. It's got, and this is also a point of contention, or I thought it was going to be a point of contention. I know a lot of people like their martinis for the caffeine. This has natural coffee flavors, but it's not like caffeinated. I like that because I don't have to worry about when I want to have 4 or 5 of these. My heart's not jumping out of my fucking chest.
So imagine a couple of those, then a couple of bumps, and I'm all of a sudden I'm painting the walls. So
I like it to be when you want to drink them all night long, you want to enjoy a few of them. You don't need to worry about that. And the best part is like you don't have to mix it with anything. It's all ready to rock.
Yeah,
shake them up.
Absolutely. Yeah. So again, I'm not a coffee guy. I never have been. I guess I'm starting to become one. Imagine that's what I had, another vice. If I had another vice at the age of 50, whatever the fuck I am.
The coffee thing to me, I really do like this so much that I'm like, man, maybe there's a whole world of just the different types of beans and the different types of brews and all that, but I don't want to go down the road of the people who are like, I can't function without my coffee.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Now this is the key. I poured hopefully about two glasses worth.
Right. In a big shaker. You only need a couple cubes, really. I put a bunch in there, so maybe I've overdone it. But then you gotta shake the shit.
And I remember I first got it. I went like this, and I poured it out, and I was like, oh, it didn't foam up. Maybe maybe when they mass produced them, it didn't work or whatever. And then you just didn't shake it enough.
Okay, yeah.
Give it a good shake.
So you got to give it a good one,
and you got to give it a good pour. This shaker's actually broken, so it doesn't come off. But you got to pour out every last little bit of foam.
Really?
Yeah.
Look how impressive that is.
The girl made 126 martinis the other day at the launch party.
And she was doing them. She was doing them individually. And I was like, why don't we just get a fucking garbage pail? You know what I mean? With a tight fitting lid, one big fucking block of ice, and then throw it on in there for it. And I tell you, everybody who went there had to have one first.
Yep.
And the testament to it was everyone wound up having more than one.
Yep.
It
was funny too, though. At some point, everyone was getting fucked up, and they were like, "Can I switch to like a beer? If I drink these all night, I'm going to be wrecked."
Right.
It's like you can drink whatever you want, man.
But I think that's a testament, especially in this fucking place. You know what I mean?
everybody was like, "Oh, I'm happy I don't have to lie." I was like, "That's good."
Yeah, good for you.
All right, I think we should be good. The pour might not be the best because again, the shaker is.
It's the Barstool difference.
Might be better at this than I am. If you
probably am.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, I got you.
Do it like an old school.
And I'll tell you, they took their time, to your point, as far as also chilling the glasses and doing all that kind of stuff that makes a difference.
That's also with the shaker. I said once you can feel the shaker get cold and the ice has melted, then you know you're in a good spot.
And this is a double.
Oh, look at that! Yeah. When it comes out foamy and creamy like that, that's the good stuff. Yeah. Beautiful. It's got the right color. It's got the right foam.
The only thing we don't have is the beans.
I know, but that's okay. You know, the rule is you either go no beans or 3 beans.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. 3 beans is, for health, wealth, and happiness. But if you have no beans, you're okay. It's when you get into that world of 1, 2, 5, 4, then you're in trouble.
I can guarantee you that Bert and Tom got beans. Whatever. It's not a huge fucking deal. So now, as you see right now, for video purposes, people who are not watching this, you can already see that it's starting to fall. So it's going from a pure caramel color to getting darker on the bottom and creating that froth or that head up top. So you got to give it a couple of seconds and it develops. So I'm not even going to wait. So my whole thing is that it smells delicious. What's the whole deal?
So good.
Yeah, I could drink a bunch of those. Kev, I'm telling you, I'm not a fucking coffee guy. I can drink that. All right, so this is turning into an ad. I hate it. So this is good stuff. I hope that you make millions of dollars off it. Come on back, right? If we want to talk about something, particularly if you have something that you hate or something, in New York, because we could shit on shit forever, I think.
Always.
What's the worst part of New York?
The Yankee fans.
Yeah, okay. That's the Yankee fans. All right, so this is, you got to try this. This is KFC's, the reason that I'm at Barstool. This is Midnight Bean, which I highly recommend you guys find out where they sell it. If not, order it up for yourself.
That's the main thing people can do, by the way, is if you get it, great, drink it, post it on social media. But if they don't have it, just ask them to stock it. Because everyone can stock it. You just have to tell them that it's like any business. So like if it sells, I'll sell it. So you got to just tell them I will buy it.
I will get a case around the holidays and I will know that I'll go through it. And I would also bring it to a fucking party too. Jesus, I'm writing the fucking script for you. I'm done with this. It's my show. All right, you got to try this. We'll see you guys next week. All right, so that's Kevin Clancy. Kevin Clancy is the guy. He is the one of the Rushmore guys, made a boatload of money on the Penn deal. We had him on Barstool Finance, and I think the number was like 18.9 million. I think was the check that he wound up telling myself and Tyler when we did an interview. I think we broke that number too. So he said we were allowed to say it. So I'm not saying anything out of school. And it's nice to see that when somebody gets an injection of that type of money, it doesn't automatically make them have a better palate. But he is starting. He's starting with the wines and obviously with this Espresso Martini, which I hope makes him millions and millions of more dollars and the rich get richer. But that's it. So if you guys have any ideas of what I could start as a side hustle, maybe in a bottle or as a cigar or something, because the guys from Never Ash had reached out a couple times and they were very, very grateful for us having them on. And I feel the same way. I thought it was very, very nice for them to fly out and do all that kind of stuff. So we're in the market for some marketing ideas. Let us know. And otherwise, again, 5-star reviews. Please like and subscribe wherever you have your podcasts and whatnot. And we will see you next week. We're going to have a special guest, a New York restaurateur who's an absolute legend. And his name kind of says it all. His name is Stratus Morphigan. And this guy looks and sounds like a Stratus Morphigan. He was responsible for Philippe Chow, a couple of places that are just iconic in New York City, has a couple of places around the city now, including the Brooklyn Dumpling House. He's got the diner. We'll talk about his LSD, which is a special thing that he offers in one of his steakhouses. Stratus is very, very interesting, and he's been on the New York scene for quite some time, so make sure you tune in for that, and we'll see you next week on You Gotta Try This.